What if I told you that the dirt under your feet could become a painter's palette? Or that a totally ordinary tree on a college campus could be turned into a designer lampshade? Well, today we're going to dive into a fascinating story from a university in Taiwan where students are doing just that, turning the everyday into the extraordinary and rediscovering ancient crafts along the way. Okay, so here's our roadmap. First, we'll look at the incredible treasures hiding right under our feet. Then, we'll step inside the very unique classroom where all this magic happens. After that, we'll explore the actual alchemy, how they do it. We'll see how their art connects with the real world. And finally, we'll unpack the big lessons from all this. So let's start with a really simple idea. I mean, how often do you actually stop and look at the ground you're walking on or the trees you pass every single day? Do you just see stuff? Or do you see potential? This is the question that really gets to the heart of the course. It's all about challenging students to completely reframe their perspective, to see the world not just for what it is right now, but for what it could be. And that little mental shift, it unlocks a ton of creativity. And check this out. This is the perfect before and after. On the one hand, you've got tree bark and soil, things we'd probably just walk past. And on the other, you have these beautiful, valuable products. So how in the world does this happen? Let's find out. Okay, so how do they do it? Well, it all kicks off in a pretty unconventional classroom. This is not your typical lecture hall with rows of desks. Think of it more like a lab for innovation, where ancient techniques get a chance to meet modern design. The official name of the course is Natural Sustainability and Artistic Social Practice. And that name, it really tells you everything you need to know. See, this isn't just an art class. It's about understanding nature, being sustainable, and then using art to actually do some good in society. It's about making things that aren't just beautiful, but are also meaningful. And this chart kind of shows you the secret sauce of the course. It's this deliberate mix, 60% hard science like geology and botany, and 40% art and humanities. That blend is absolutely key. You can't just be a great artist. You also have to think like a scientist to really understand the materials you're working with. And the way they teach is just as creative. The professor uses something he calls forced heterogeneous grouping. Basically, he throws students from totally different worlds, engineering, design, management, into the same team. It forces them out of their comfort zones, and they have to figure out how to work together. The engineer might solve a structural problem, while the designer makes it look amazing. It's a perfect setup for real-world innovation. All right, let's get to the really cool part, the alchemy itself. How do these students actually turn soil from their campus and bark from a tree into art? Well, it's a super hands-on process that's part science, part history lesson, and part pure imagination. First up, the very earth they walk on. The course calls the students Earth's original color alchemists, which is pretty cool. They literally go out and grab soil and rocks right from their own campus. Then comes this super careful process of washing, grinding, and filtering to pull out these pure natural pigments. And those pigments become the building blocks for all kinds of creations. And would you look at the results? Absolutely incredible. That same campus soil gets turned into everything from these charming little sculptures to these wild aroma diffusers shaped like croissants and coffee cups. They've literally created value from the ground up, turning what most of us would call dirt into products that are both cool to look at and actually useful. Okay, so ingredient number 2 is the paper mulberry tree. And in this class, this tree basically becomes a time machine. Students use its bark to bring 2 ancient crafts back to life. The Austronesian tradition of making bark cloth, which is like a fabric that existed before weaving, and the ancient Han Dynasty method of making paper, one of the most important inventions ever. And believe me, this is not easy stuff. They do it the old school way. They harvest the branches, strip off the bark, boil it with wood ash, and then they have to painstakingly pound the fibers into these thin sheets. What you get in the end is this really versatile natural fabric that can be used as paper or even as cloth. And what they do with it is just wow. This ancient material gets this amazing modern makeover. They craft these beautiful organic lampshades that have this incredible warm glow and these detailed light boxes that tell stories. They're taking a craft that's thousands of years old and making it totally fresh and desirable for today. But, you know, this whole thing is way more than just a cool art project in a classroom. The final piece of the puzzle is what the course calls social practice. It's all about taking these incredible creations and this sustainable way of thinking out into the real world to make a real impact. And this quote from the course, man, it just nails it. It's an experiment designed to get students to see the world in a new light, to find all that hidden value in the stuff right around them, and then show it to the rest of us so we can appreciate it too. And how do they prove this stuff has value? Well, the old-fashioned way. They sell it. You can see their work right here. Fans, coasters, handmade soaps, at a market run by a national craft institute. This is the ultimate proof that their creations aren't just for a grade. They have real economic and cultural value. But the absolute high point, the real showstopper, was this incredible event. They teamed up with the National Taiwan Museum of Fine Arts. The students created these amazing sustainable costumes and props, and then they literally stepped into the paintings, walking a catwalk inside the museum and interacting with the crowd. They brought art to life, completely smashing the barrier between the gallery and the audience. Just unforgettable. So we've followed this amazing journey from plain old dirt to incredible design. So what's the big takeaway here? What can we all learn from this one remarkable college course? Well, first off, it screams that real innovation happens when you mix things up. Put an engineer and an artist in a room and you'll get something amazing. Second, it gives us a new way to think about sustainability. It's not just about recycling bins. It's a mindset of seeing potential everywhere you look. It also shows us that education can be this powerful bridge, connecting us back to our environment and our own history. And finally, it proves that creativity isn't just a hobby. It can have a real, tangible impact on society and the economy. And this whole story really leaves you with one big question. This classroom in Taiwan became a little lab for rediscovering value. And that really makes you think, doesn't it? What overlooked materials, what forgotten crafts, what hidden treasures are just waiting to be discovered right in your own community, or maybe even in your own backyard?